here with Kevin O'Keefe and Bob Ambrogi, who've obviously sat in and shared several different sessions that we've covered today. Just to look back, kind of as a recap, starting with you, Bob, what do you think, what are some of the favorite things that we've accomplished today and some of the favorite things that we've discussed?
Well, first of all, I have to say this was the overall day was one of the most comprehensive programs covering social media I've ever been to. I mean, from start to finish, I think we've really gone through pretty much every aspect of what somebody needs to know. For me, I always like just kind of what I've liked about this particular program is that there's been an open sharing of just ideas about how to do this. It wasn't a kind of a formulaic presentation. I like the fact that we had a lot of open discussion, and I think there was just a lot of good feedback, and I hope some people got a lot of good tips on how to get involved and engaged in social media.
Yeah, and it seemed as though a lot of the time, a lot of the presentations really flowed seamlessly from one into the next in terms of the topics that were covered. What are your thoughts just kind of on how the topics kind of flowed together and how it was just a kind of a seamless conversation on social media for client development?
Yeah, I mean, I would echo Bob's view, and I think it's kind of a credit to what PLI did with the program. They were willing to say, go out and find people that would be enlightening on this topic of social media, and to, I don't know if I want to call it wing it, but Bob and I know each other well enough, and our style would be to say, let's go get good people and create a conversation. And so what's happened in the room today is we had a conversation with some really excellent lawyers, whether Frank Aquillo that came over from Cromwell and Sullivan, we've got Steve Rebell that kicked this off, that really talked about thought leadership in the digital age, and very thought-provoking. And then the panels flowed. How do we use Twitter? How might we use LinkedIn? And each people had their own disparate views. So what we really had was PLI was the first organization that I know of that basically said, let's step back and take a day and talk about professional development, being a better lawyer in the use of social media, and doing business development, client development through social media. And that's not blended in with the perils and pitfalls. I don't think we've talked today at all, Bob, unless you've heard something about ethics, risk, liability.
We haven't, other than use common sense, which is something we talk about. But you're right, Colin. I thought the programs flowed together naturally. We started talking about blogging, and then how do bloggers engage in social media, and we moved into a program on how do you engage in social media, and it just fit together well. And I think we really put it in perspective for people and gave them some good tips. So.
And looking back, just one more question on the day as a whole for each of you. If you were going to leave the people here watching via telecast, if you were going to leave people who are just checking out these videos with one piece of advice that you think, could be gathered from the day's events, what do you think that would be?
Dive in.
I think it's exactly that. There was somebody had mentioned that on the last panel. I think it may have even been Guy Alvarez from PLI that said you do need to dive in. And one way of diving in, I think that you heard from a number of the people here, was first certainly dive in, but realize it's not a shouting environment, that you're probably going to engage and listen to what other people are doing. It's a great learning environment. There's no easier way to learn something where you're supposed to listen and begin to listen to the conversation that's going on online.
Engage and listen. Those are dive in, engage, listen. That's it, right there.
Right.
And that's what you need to do.
Yeah, so what we're going to do is take videos, break down components. I think there were some wonderful speakers, maybe share some of their ideas, but just get out there and try things. Very much try it.